All right, guys, on this presentation, we're going to talk about how you can 10X your real estate business, get it profitable, differentiate yourself from other realtors and agencies, and add to your net worth in the next 12 months. We're going to spend some time as an overview right here of the presentation on these key 5 topics to keep it short on what actually drives business into either your brokerage, if you're an agent, drive community traffic to you. If you're an investor, also driving traffic to you as far as brand recognition goes. But we've seen it all. You know, these are the key 5 topics we're going to spend time on because these are the revenue generators if you're a realtor in the real estate industry. We work with so many brokers nationwide and we hear it all the time. They have an administrator that kind of posts on their social media. They got a video guy. They have some sort of a CRM if they're using Boomtown or REI Blackbook or IDX, which kind of drives leads to them. And what really it is, it's a hot mess. None of these things are talking to each other, and therefore marketing really doesn't work and it doesn't really turn the ROI the way it needs to. You know, even a blind squirrel finds a nut, right? People will get sales, it'll kind of work, you'll get by, but you won't be able to really have a clear path of how this year you plan on 1, 2, 3, or 4xing your revenue or home sold, or whatever it is that you're trying to do in the real estate game. So lead generation, let's just start it at the top. You know, we've all seen it before: Facebook ads, Google ads, LinkedIn ads, etc. You know, how are you currently getting your ads right now? Is it working? Do you need to pivot? Do you need to, you know, what have you done in the past that hasn't worked? We all know that it works. It's just a matter of, is it being effective? We're going to spend some time talking about how we can effectively do that. Branding and social media. You all know you need to post on social media. There's so many new platforms coming out. There's Triller, TikTok, you know, like, do I get on these platforms? Are these going to drive business to me? Instagram, Reels versus Stories versus IGTV, LinkedIn, you know, really an unused platform that is a really, really huge, massive revenue generator if used properly. We're going to talk a little bit about that because it's something that everybody knows they should be doing. They should be creating content. They just get too busy in the day-to-day work and they don't get to putting out the content that they should. We'll spend some time talking about that. Google Analytics and SEO, everybody knows what this is: search engine optimization. If someone stops and Googles your name, your brokerage, your business, what pops up? What are they finding? How much business have you possibly lost because they don't like what they see? So we're going to talk about that. YouTube, video, podcasts, massive wave. For those of you that probably know, but if you don't, you got people like Joe Rogan, right? Has one of the biggest podcasts in the world. It's all something that we should be doing. If you're in your industry and you're trying to become the mayor of your zip code, your town, your state, build brand recognition, maybe even nationwide, it's content arbitrage, right? Number 4 and 5 line up together, where it's really just, what are we doing to create the content? Google owns YouTube. So as far as the algorithm goes, you want to have YouTube out there. You want to be getting in front of people. You want to be putting valuable content in front of your potential future clients. So we'll go over this, guys. Who's this for? Who is this for? Anyone in real estate agents, brokers, investors, property management groups, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. People who are aspiring to grow their business, 10X, 2X, 3X, really just to move the needle forward. That's who this is for. They want to follow tried and true proven track records to maximize their profitability. Folks who are not happy with the status quo, who are looking to double and triple their income. Anyone who wants their marketing to not only set them apart from their agents, brokers, investors, et cetera, but to also turn to ROI, right? So we're going to dive into this. This is really for people, if you're on this call, I really believe you're going through this presentation because you're ready to move the needle forward. So who's this not for? Who's this not for? People who are okay with the status quo. Folks who are not looking to get rich quick, because we all know there's no such thing as getting rich quick. Super skeptics. We need you to be open-minded. We need you to have a new perspective, you know, coming into a new business strategy from year to year, which is, if you're on this call, I figure that's the reason why you are. But, you know, it's okay to be skeptical and seek logical arguments, but coming in with a poor attitude won't help you very much, right? So don't be basic, bro. So moving on. Let's go over some case studies real quick. So let's talk about some win, who have we worked with, why us, what have we done that's so special. Well, if you're an independent agent investor, anybody who's looking to independently brand themselves, how are you going to do that? Ultimately, we're going to do it through content arbitrage. This gentleman, Sal Rizzolo, he works for a company, Cardinal Financial, pretty big lending group out on the West Coast, now hitting it really hard here on the East Coast. And we've been working with Sal for over a year. So this is what it could look like. Everybody's story is going to be a little different in these case studies, but we started working with Sal back in 2019. He did about $30 million in volume as a loan officer. And this year, just finished out, I think about 120 million. And the cooler part, we just got this in. I was talking to him the day before yesterday. He is now he's in the top 1,000 loan originators in the entire country. So he has really separated himself from the average loan officer, right? He's really kind of set himself above the rest. And how do you do that? Well, when we first started working with him, we talked about the content arbitrage. We started creating so much content through every single social media platform you could think of, making podcasts, be creating a lot of micro data and getting that data out as far as mini videos, and really just engaging with his community. Hey, if you guys are posting on anything social, anything, it could be any platform. Think of it. You aren't growing a following, you aren't growing subscribers, people aren't engaging or commenting with you. There's only one reason: it's not engaging valuable content to them, right? So we made sure we created a lot of valuable content, really got ahead of Sal and his community, and a lot of people started to engage back with him, asking questions. People who maybe weren't customers today, but they were customers tomorrow, because of the content he was putting out actually applied to them. And when they were ready to transition into a customer because they had a problem, right? And now Sal had the solution. Sal was the first person that they reached out to, so that way they can do that. And I don't know the exact number. I think it was 13 or 15, must have closed 13 or 15 deals just through his Instagram alone last year, with the community just connecting with him and asking questions, and him engaging back with the community with our help through reputation management. So pretty cool story, explosive business. So if you're an agent, this is or a team lead or someone running a small organization, this is content arbitrage is definitely something I want to spend some time doing. Here's some feedback when we first started working with Sal. I'll actually if you could read right here, I would like to announce that this week, 2 real leads came in. One of them hasn't panned out yet, but the other one, blah, blah, blah. She's a sweetheart. But this is the important part right here. This is strictly 100% from my Instagram. And she said, and I quote, "You seem like a very honest person." So that led to business because of the content we're putting out. You forget that you can't hide today with the social media world. People are going to be able to see through who you're not, right? So we want to make sure we're putting out content that's valuable, but the person really felt like they knew Sal, and that's why they reached out to them, and that's why it started to convert into business. But you could be a phenomenal person, an honest person, one of the hardest working people in your town, your city, your state, maybe even the top producer. But if other people don't know that, and that message isn't relayed to them, then it's not going to convert into business. So we got to make sure we get that message out there. Right? If you're a rock star already, great. Let's get that in front of your community and do it the right way, so that way it translates into business. On the brokerage side, here is Melly Rosario from an Exit Home Key out of the state of New York. Her brokerage, it has a pretty cool story. When we first started working with her, she came on board, and she was doing, I don't know, a couple of $1,000s a month in Zillow. Who can relate to that? MLS, the typical platforms that realtors use. And, the nationwide standard for Zillow is for every 200 leads produced, 1% converts, right? So less than 1%, sorry, 1 lead converts. So for every 200 leads, 1 lead converts into something. So you have to filter through a lot of junk to find something. So what we started doing with her was she started taking a little bit of her Zillow campaign and started taking some of that budget and converting it over to what we were doing through strategic targeting ads through certain social platforms. And she started to receive some massive, massive ROI, where she was finding out, hey, I don't need to maybe have as many leads if I get more quality leads and the conversion is better. And she actually got to the point where she took all of her funds she was giving to Zillow, MLS, and all these other platforms, and now works 100% with us through giving her quality leads through certain social platforms and strategy campaigns that we use. Really, really phenomenal story, kicking butt for her and her team. But this is an example that we had. Got this one agent, 9 days, 46 leads, one house in contract. So in that scenario, you know, 50 leads or under, you know, a little bit better of a scenario. You got 46 leads, one converted into an actual contract, which is well, 4 times greater than what Zillow was doing for her. And this is the thing. When you're running targeted ads, when you dial in, it should perform better and better and better. Now this here is Melissa Shea. She is the president of the Long Island Real Estate Investors Association. She is actually also the president of Meeting of the Minds Educational and Investment Group. And she also owns a few exit regions as a broker as well. So very successful in her own right. She was actually looking to hire an in-house marketer at the time. As you can see here, she's like something that is worth about $100K a year. So she was looking to hire a couple of in-house marketers to brand her entire organization, because she has so many businesses working for her. And she was going to pay, I don't know, upwards of $100K for that. So we went ahead and stepped in and started to brand each and every one of her businesses, as well as started getting out the proper content. And we've been able to sell out all her educational seminars. She leads a investment and education group every Wednesday. We've been able to grow that. Like she says here, in this case study, from 30 to 60 to 70 people. This is old. I mean, now we're closer over 100 people now. And we're just growing the numbers. We're just rocking it out for her in each one of her businesses. And that's the thing. If you're looking to grow a following, you need to get in front of your people. If you're looking to sell something online, you're going to need to have some sort of strategic campaign, which is what we do for her educational seminar. So if you're an investor, we work with a ton of investment groups, whether you're a house flipper or you're working with distressed properties, we've done it. And actually, here's an example of a couple of campaigns we've ran for Melissa Shea. This was actually for distressed properties. We ran this campaign for the investment group, and we had a lot of success. Obviously, the ad ran from there to a landing page with a video that was created, and converted business. We actually got her, I don't know, maybe a couple of hundred leads from this, and we were giving the leads. And this is a funny story. We're giving the leads to her people, and her people were calling the leads, and her people were saying the leads weren't converting, the leads weren't good. How often have you guys ever heard that? If you're running any type of campaign through Facebook or Instagram, have you ever gotten crappy leads, or have you ever heard the leads aren't good? Well, our lead gen team got angry and sat down and said, no way, the leads got to be good. We dialed in on this campaign, and they started to actually call the leads themselves. So they actually sat down and started calling the leads. And Jamie and her team, who heads up the lead gen team, said, hey, calling all the leads right now, found 2 people looking to sell, right? And they actually had the address, phone number, what the price was. But the cooler part was, I'm recording the calls. I'll send you guys the recording. So she started to figure out, hey, listen, the leads were good. And when leads aren't converting, maybe it was just the person on the phone. Do they have a script, right? What's the thought process when entering a lead? How are you calling them? Do you know where the lead came from so you can transition it into an appointment? There's a little bit of work that goes behind that, because we do understand that the average realtor, let's say, may not be a professional salesperson. So we do understand there may be some additional training. And I understand if you're a realtor or an agent, you may say, I'm the best salesperson in the world. I know how to do that, right? And everybody thinks that way. But we should all be getting additional training to become better. So we actually sat down and did a sales training with her team of realtors, gave them sales scripts, walked them through how to transition from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or any type of social platform, how to transition those leads into appointments because it was something that they were not used to make sure that they were having success, which is important to us because when we win, you guys win and vice versa. So funny story, awesome turnout. This is Jeff Mastrada and Susan. They run a very large exit brokerage. 200 plus agents, I believe is the number. So pretty large exit brokerage. And what we set up with them, if you run a brokerage and you have a ton of agents, even if you only have 10 agents, you don't have to have a ton, but we can probably all agree that out of those, 100 agents, let's say, or 200 agents, if we're understanding the 20-80 rule, you're probably getting most of your volume from 20% of your agents, and the other 80% are mediocre, trying to figure it out part-time. And it's understanding why is that. Most of them aren't engaged in social media. They're not putting up content. They're not producing volume. They're just getting by, they're making a couple of sales here and there. So their main reason why is they're not fully engaged with the program. And what we did with Jeff and Susan was we gave them access to an agent graphics chat where our team literally produces all of the content for 67 of their agents. They didn't put everybody in that chat, but they put the ones that they thought were doing the work and could benefit. And we produce content for 67 out of their 200 agents. So they literally just need to repost the content we put up the hashtags for them, who you need to tag. We essentially do all the work. So now all their agents are super engaged now with social media, engaging with their community, interaction with their community, and it's leading to business. That's the whole thing. I mean, could you imagine that no matter how many agents you have, 5, 10, 30, 50 in your office, if you can just get half of them to get one more sale this year, just because they use their social media, or really just use the internet the way they were supposed to. That's where we came in and produced the content. So obviously this is a case study that they have talking about how their whole team has come together and everybody's on the same page from working together and reposting each other's stuff. Everybody's reposting each other's stuff there. So great case study there as well. This is just a bunch of people talking about how awesome and the results that they've seen from us. You guys can take a snapshot of this and look at that. We are trusted by over 500 brokers nationwide and counting. Now, by the time you're seeing this video, this number is probably a lot higher. But if you name it, we work with everybody. And the reason why that is because especially if you're working for a bigger franchise, like some of the ones you see here, you may have a corporate headquarters that produces some sort of content for you or does something social or digital for you. But I think you probably realize by now that the blanketed approach of working nationwide, what works in New York does not work in Tulsa. What works in Austin, Texas does not work in Miami, right? And so on and so forth. So it needs to be a very, very targeted approach. Whether you're middle America or you're in California and LA, it needs to be specific to your demographic. Who's in that zip code? Man, you could cover 10 different zip codes and you would need 10 different marketing strategy campaigns based on one, let's say here in Long Island, because our corporate headquarters is based out of New York, here on Long Island, we may be talking about the Gold Coast, where most of the people who live there may be 50 and up versus another part of the island where the average homeowner, maybe if we're trying to get listings, might be between 35 and 45. That's going to be two different campaigns with who we're trying to target and what appeals to that audience. So there has to be a lot more thought put into it. And that's really where we come in. So walk you through how do we actually engage and connect with your community per zip code, right? So we understand, even if it is, there may be several different communities even in the one zip code. So what are we doing to appeal to each one of them? So the blanketed approach, I think everybody understands, it doesn't work anymore. It has to be a direct message to your community specific to them. So moving on, some key points. Getting your real estate business off the ground and profitable in less than 3 months, completely doable if you follow the right strategy. Discipline is closely tied to leads and closing, right? So to get traction, an agent needs work ethic. Man, you got to grind. We all know this, right? This is nothing new. You got to increase your sales skills and you have to follow some sort of timeline an agenda, right? We can't be all over the place. Most people have the knowledge and perhaps the network, but lack the social media credibility to achieve meaningful traction. This results in frustration and failure. How many people can relate to that? And then FMO Media, some content about us and what we've done. But let's move on to who are we and what are we about? We've worked with more than 500 brokerages and individuals, nonprofits, and other real estate organizations since 2014, giving unparalleled level of knowledge across a diverse range of industries and markets, right? So, hey man, we've been kicking butt in the industry for some time now. We've got plenty of case studies, plenty of referrals, and we're looking to just keep on moving forward and take what we've used over the past couple of years and just get better and really dial in and show you how to do it. This right here is Foxy, right? The mascot. If you've been on our website already or seen some of our other videos, Foxy runs the show. She is the HIBC, right? So we moving on. This is our chart organization right here. Now, this slide may be old by the time you're seeing this. We've been adding 1 to 5 new people to our team every month, but this is where we are and this is where we stand today, right? So I'm actually going to stop this just to give you an idea of what does this look like for you, right? What are we really talking about here? We're talking about a team of marketers working for you. That's essentially what it is. You know, instead of having a jack of all trades, a master of none, we're talking about having 3 to 5 to 8 to 10 experts to fill in all the funnels here. And I'll actually stop this so actually I can show you. This right here is a WhatsApp chat. And let's see who we got down this pipeline here. Let's say Ted, right? So Ted is runs 2 Coldwell Banker offices. And I'm going to show you what a team could look like here, right? So essentially, this is what the team does when they back you up, right? You have a Google Analytics person, right? You're someone who handles lead gen. You have a content creator. You have a creative director, right? You have a graphic designer, and then you have a social media manager. So we're assigning teams to a brokerage or an agent or an investment group, or a commercial brokerage even. And that team is going to fill in all the gaps for you, right? So essentially, we need to identify, as we start to walk through these first 30, 60, 90 days, we need to start to identify, if we pull an audit on somebody, what does that look like? We got to identify everywhere you are and everywhere you're not. And then we need to build out some sort of a strategic campaign with how we plan on bringing you to market. That's very, very, very detailed, right? So there's a lot that goes into that. That's extremely important. And that team of 3, 5, 8 people, and every team obviously may shape up a little different, is going to be going to work for you. And then you get instant access through a WhatsApp chat or some sort of a real-time platform. So it's like this marketing team is working for you in-house, essentially, which is the idea. The office is open 7 days a week as well, because we know marketing and real estate does not sleep, right? But this is an idea of what the first 0 to 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days might look like coming on board, right? Essentially, where we're going to come on, we're going to have to do an audit on your business and identify where are you today and where are you not. Essentially, where are you losing business? Because I think we all understand, if we dial in, hey, if I Google you, where aren't you, right? Or how many deals have you lost out because maybe your social feed, your last post was a year ago, your following hasn't grown, it's just not appealing, you just don't seem credible, right? Your website isn't engaging. There's a million reasons why somebody might not call you back. Maybe you just don't have a good enough track record. Maybe you don't have enough case studies or testimonies yourself to back you up. I want to work with somebody who's been around longer. Maybe you've been around 30 years, but I just don't know that. Or maybe you say you're around 30 years, but when I look you up online, I can't find anything on you. That doesn't add to your credibility. So everything needs to line up, essentially, is what we're saying. So when we do that launch call and we start to onboard you, we're going to come up with a strategy process. We're going to do a full web presence audit. So we're going to identify everywhere you're not, and we're going to have to fill in those gaps. We're going to have to build an aesthetic and a game plan based off of your company guidelines, or we will create those for you if they don't already exist. We're going to have a strategy review with whoever's leading the charge as far as marketing. Make sure we're all engaged and on the same page with that. And then we'll start with posting and getting content out there. We're going to have to do a following web presence audit, right? So again, identify anywhere you're not, because it says it continues. We're going to have to dial in on pixels, Google, so on and so forth. You guys can read this. I don't want to bore you with all the details there. But essentially, this is what content arbitrage looks like, guys. Everything speaks to each other. And this slide was actually 10 times larger to the point where you couldn't read it. So we just kind of minimized it and put up a basic overview of how everything needs to talk to one another, right? If you see the 4 main funnels of content, video, Google, lead gen, they all need to communicate with one another for this to work. So that's where we come in, and we get it. You're busy doing what you do best. You're running your brokerage, you're coaching, you're mentoring, you're moving the needle forward. If you're an agent, you're busting your butt. You're attending network groups, you have showings, you're following up. It takes a lot to sit down and do this while you're doing everything else, and that's where we really fill in the gap here for you. Let's talk a little bit about lead gen. What's that look like? Why does it work for some and not work for most? Well, it's just not dialed in enough. This right here, these are some lead gen terms. If you're not familiar, tofu, mofu, bofu. So we have top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. And really to the right, it says it all right there. Awareness, top of funnel is really engaging with the audience that doesn't know you exist yet. And, the metrics is, typically you need to engage with somebody on typical branding. If you're going to buy a product, typically you need to see it or engage with it about 7 times before you trust it enough to convert into an actual sale, right? So we really need to blanket approach your zip codes or wherever you're working or your state to build some community trust. And if we're generating leads and the leads are coming in, but then these leads are checking you out online and your digital presence isn't in line with everything they just talked to you about, it's not going to convert into a sale. And that's the main issue here. Everything needs to line up. And that's where a lot of people can say, oh, I'm getting these leads. Why aren't a lot of them converting? Well, how much credibility do you have? That's a big portion of it as well, where they may look you up and maybe they don't feel you're credible, or they don't like what they see, or there's not enough trust built through your social or just web presence in general. So let me walk you through this here. Top of funnel, performing Google keyword search, social media. There's a couple of ways we can do this, right? Because we have Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, LinkedIn ads, YouTube ads, the list goes on. But this is a general idea of what this could look like. They read the landing page, they download information, right? The CTA gated enter email to download. They get an estimate or a showing, et cetera, or wherever we're trying to lead that campaign. Enter the email campaign, receives first email with educational resource or some sort of an asset, a minimal viable asset is what we call that. Maybe it's a video, landing page, whatever. Receives a second email with listings in their area, receives a third email with video content, and then increases custom audience for retargeting. And we bring them further down the funnel, as you can see here. And then finalized lead receives a phone call, books an appointment, doesn't a book appointment. We're going to then be putting them back into the funnel, enters retargeting funnel, receives monthly email with listings. It's understanding, hey, that person who maybe was window shopping, right? Maybe they're not ready to convert today. Maybe they're not a buyer today. Maybe they're not a seller today. Maybe it's an agent, a quality agent you're trying to recruit to your team. Maybe they're not ready to leave yet to move over to you. But let's stay in contact with them and stay engaged with that individual. We're obviously fully digitized. So, we sit with so many people who still do direct mail, still do newspapers, still do shopping carts, and they spend a ton of money putting their face there. We're just big believers that if you're going to be spending money on marketing, if you're putting something out, we need to be getting something back. And what do we mean by that? If I put $10,000 into some sort of direct mail campaign, yes, now everybody in my zip code all has a mailer. But the problem with marketing and really just sales in general, sales is solving a problem. So if you have a solution, and when you're getting your solution in front of me, you're advocating your solution at this point in time, but I don't have a problem yet, you're not going to convert me into a sale because I'm not ready to buy. And that's the problem with direct mail, newspaper, billboard, any of those old school methods, is because you're only going to convert the people who are ready to convert that second at that point in time. Now, the person who maybe is not ready to buy today, who sees some sort of a targeted ad, gets put in some sort of a funnel like this, they are now aware you exist. But now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months down the line, because we have their name, their phone number, their email, really just all their contact information, we can keep remarketing to them and keeping them up to date. So when they are ready to buy or sell, or whatever pain point they have, they're ready to find the solution. You have the solution for them. They meet and it converts into a deal. And that's where the digital side of things works, because if we're spending $10,000, $5,000, whatever it is, $100, whatever your campaign is, let's just understand, if I'm putting money out, I want to at least be getting data back, names, phone numbers, and emails. I want to make sure that everybody in my community, I have their contact information so I can stay in touch with them, right? So food for thought on that. Marketing versus sales. We just talked about this, right? Marketing is half the battle, right? Marketing will get you the leads. It'll get your name out there. It'll get you in front of your community. But if we can't engage with the solution at the proper time, right? Marketing is saying, hey, we have the solution. Sales is meeting the solution with the problem at the proper time. Then boom, we have ourselves a deal, right? Marketing, solution engagement. Hey, we got you guys. When you're ready to move, we're here for you. Build trust, build value, get in front of them constantly. And then finally, when they have the problem and they're ready to get it solved, that's where sales comes in, and you meet them in the middle and it converts into a deal. So this right here, things we kind of hear. I post to social media. I post social media all the time. Why do I need you? I've hired someone to do SEO. It doesn't work. What separates you from doing that? Why use you when I use Zillow and MLS and all these other lead gen platforms, right? I have a friend that does video. I make my own content. Typical stuff we hear all the time. But the real question is, how much of that is driving your business, and how is it moving the needle for you month to month to month to month? And the answer is, if it's not doing that, you obviously need to do something else, but you probably know that already, which is probably why you're going through this presentation today. And the most important part is we need to make sure everything is talking to each other. Again, that slide I showed you before with all the different arrows coming together, all content needs to talk to one another. You can't just be filling one funnel and expect to be winning everywhere. We got to make sure, marketing and sales is like an 8-cylinder muscle car engine. You can get A to B, running on 2 cylinders. You're just not going to get there fast or how you'd like it. But in order to be running on all cylinders, performing the way you're supposed to, we got to make sure we're filling in all the gaps. So let's go through the 4 main feelers here. Lead generation. We know it's important. We're talking about, this is how we bring you down the funnel: Facebook, Instagram ads, LinkedIn ads, Google ads, etc. Landing pages, fill out forms, quizzes, building your website so that way it's actually capturing leads. I can't tell you how many times we see a website and man, that website is sexy. The organic traffic is phenomenal, but they get 0 leads per month from it. So obviously some things need to be changed there. Emails, phone numbers, names, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So lead gen's important. We can really dial in. This is a basic overview of what that could look like. What are we talking about? Right now in today's market, everybody needs more listings. So that there is heavy thought put into that. We work across the country. So whatever town, zip code, city you're in, we either already work there, so we understand the market, or we have a lookalike audience that is extremely comparable to make sure it'll work in your area. And that's for a separate call to dial into how that works and the metrics behind that. But content creation, we talked about it. We all know we need to get content out there. Facebook, Instagram, there's so many new platforms coming out that I don't even want to name them all, because you could be listening to this years from now and understanding that whatever platform is relevant and going to drive business, that's the platform that we're going to be using for content arbitrage, which is essentially all of them. We can use clips anywhere online, podcasts on Apple, Spotify, etc. Keep brand consistency, which is really important if you're trying to develop some sort of a brand, be a little bit larger than just someone who's just trying to make a couple of deals. Stories capture audiences. As you know or may not know, everything on social is converted to video. So 90%, if you look at any of our pages that we're actually growing right now, it's like 99% all video, because that's just what converts now. You'll see static posts usually don't get as as much engagement now as videos do views, right? So we want to reach your local community through interaction, response. We're going to have reputation management. So we're going to be engaging with people who like posts. We're going to be tagging them. We're going to be commenting on their feeds. But we just want to make sure that we're engaging with your community the way we're supposed to, right? We build that brand trust. Respond with brand copy, comments, reviews, and more. Yes. So next on Google Analytics, right? Well, everybody kind of has done probably some sort of SEO. If you've been trying to market in some way, shape, or form, targeting people looking for services, click campaigns, using video content and creative to drive business through YouTube. You may or may not know this, but less than, and the numbers may have changed, but the last I looked, I believe it was less than 10% of businesses in the United States use YouTube advertisement. How crazy is that? There's a good chance if you're watching this, it might have been a YouTube ad, right? But it's insane that there isn't more people using that. So that is an untouched advertisement platform that we definitely encourage a lot of our clients to take advantage of. But landing pages, retargeting, website SEO, the list goes on and on and on. And we could spend some time talking about that on the next call. YouTube, video, podcast. What are we doing to get that content out in front of our people, right? So long form video is one way of doing it. And it's great because people we're seeing more and more metrics that long form videos where it's at. Again, I mentioned Joe Rogan earlier. Joe Rogan's podcasts are sometimes 2 or 3 hours. It proves that people will sit down and watch a 3-hour podcast on YouTube because people want content. If you guys haven't figured it out, YouTube is the new television. YouTube is where people are spending time watching. They want more content. But really micro content is really what's taking over. So taking that same hour or 2 hour or 45-minute or half-hour long podcast and breaking that up into 5, 10, 15, 20 videos is really where you hit home, because as you know or may not know, right? We have, people have short attention spans. We got to make 15-second videos, 30-second videos, 45-second videos, minute to 2-minute videos on IGTV to fill in all the gaps. So content. Moving on. Cost to attain, cost per acquisition ROI. So you guys can read this for yourself. Most real estate agents and brokerages have self-reported customer conversion rate of 3 to 5%. I don't know if this sounds familiar if you're a broker, but however, this might be a bit optimistic, right? Based on the market the agent is in, right? The National Association of Realtors disclosed that the rate is close to 0.4% to 1.2%. Basically, this means that for every 200 leads you can obtain, you'll only convert 1 or 2, right? So, which is pretty sad. So it's understanding that, hey, you'll if you throw enough mud up against the wall, guys, some of it's going to stick. But how do we start to generate more quality? Or even more important, do we really want to be reaching out to potential customers that everybody else is calling? Really, it's like shark and bloody water. It's essentially what it is. Everybody's nipping at the same bit there. What our strategy is let's get the customers before they decide to get to Zillow, MLS, or any of those platforms. The people who haven't even thought about selling their house yet, let's get in front of them. Let's start building brand recognition with them. So that way you're the first person, you have the first touch, and you do what you do best. You get them to the list with you. There's a strategy around that. All right. Omnipresent, right? Are you not entertained? So what does this mean? Can you be everywhere at once? Of course you want to be, right? And there's some people who do this really well, but it's just a lot, right? Working your leads, creating content, putting out content, training, motivating your team, doing audits, right? Being on listings, showings, closing deals. There's a lot, right? We understand it. You guys are busy, but remembering to take a picture with a slice in front of a house because it's National Pizza Day, right? There's just so much going on where that's where we come and really fill in that gap for you. So that way you can do what you do best, essentially. We love using this analogy right here. If you're at a barbecue or at a bar, or you meet somebody who is a potential client, customer, buyer, seller, maybe even another agent that's looking to maybe jump ship and join another brokerage. Think about it. If you say, here's my card, reach out to me. What are they going to do? What's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to Google you, and you better hope that they find what they want to find on there. Because if not, you just lost a customer, right? So when they Google you, what are they finding? You better hope they like what they see. You better hope it's credible. You better hope it sells them. And you want to be in control of that. So we always make the joke that, hey, if you gave somebody your card and then they Google you and it turned into an actual customer, did you get that customer or did we get that customer, right? Because we're the ones putting out all the content and doing everything for brand recognition to drive business. But it's just understanding that that's a huge gap we think most people are missing. How much business are they losing because, one, they can't be found, or two, they are found and people don't like what they're seeing, or it's not speaking to their community, right? So really important stuff. Here's some common questions. How long does it take to get some results? What tools do you need? Well, how long does it take to get results? Well, in the first 90 days or less, you'll see results coming in. There's two strategies here, guys. There's the organic strategy, which is the long-term win. And then there's the right now strategy, which is more of the lead gen. Lead gen's important, right? It's important. You need deals today. You need stuff to convert today. You need people to call, to book appointments today. We get that, but you don't want that to be the long game forever. If you're not getting out enough organic content, building trust, building a brand, then what happens is your community is never really going to start engaging with you where you get that organic business, essentially. So we want to be putting out enough content and building trust in the community at the same time that we're developing the leads for the right now business. So that way, 3-6 months from now, like the gentleman Sal we talked about, he has so much now business coming in from his local community. He doesn't need to run any targeted lead gen campaigns anymore because everybody's just referring people, and the people who now are referring a possible customer, now they're checking him out online, they're liking what they're seeing, and they're sold before they even speak to him on the phone, right? What tools do you need? Nothing. You just need to work with us, right? We work with all platforms, CRMs. We could even have recommendations, because I know that's a big one. People are always flip-flopping, IDX, REI Black Book, Boomtown, the list goes on and on and on. What skills do you need? Get better. Just get better at sales. That's it. We'll drive business to you. Just make sure you sell them. Do the leads need to be perfect? Of course not. And no, there's no such thing really as a perfect lead or a perfect sale. You just need to work it properly. And what's expected from me? Not much. You can be as hands-on or as hands-off as you would like. We have some customers or clients that like to be super engaged with the marketing team. They're talking in that WhatsApp chat. They're staying in contact with everything that's happening on a day-to-day basis as all the marketers are talking to each other. And there's some people who want to be totally hands-off. I want nothing to do with the guys. I just want to go out and do what I do best. You do what you do best, and that's it. So that is going to be completely up to you. So moving on, what are some common problems? What are some of the things we normally hear when people come on before they come on board with us? Sorry, their current leads aren't converting. They're not putting enough content out. They're not consistent. There's no social branding. They're not relating to their community. They don't have any video, but even if they do have a video person, they are putting out video. The video person isn't a marketer, so they don't know where to put it, or they don't create a video that can sell, right? Because that's a whole nother story. It's not translating the message properly. It's not attracting any agents, right? If you're someone trying to focus in on recruitment and get quality agents on board, what are we doing for recruitment to get agents in front of us? Or it's not attracting buyers or sellers, right? And obviously referrals and word of mouth. So a lot of this is where we come in and we fill in all the gaps. I'm sure many of you can relate to something on this page here. And we want to make sure we fill all that in. Another overview of what does content arbitrage look like? Quick overview of what it would look like the first 30, 60, 90 days. Obviously, this is a lot more detailed. This is just an overview. We're dialing in. Remember, depending on the strategy we move forward, you might have 3, 6, 8, 10 plus marketers at your disposal to make sure we're filling in all the gaps. So each one of these months here, right, and each one of these bullet points that are there, we're going to want to make sure we fill in all those so we don't miss anything. Content arbitrage is a 6 to 12 month game plan. It takes time to build community awareness, to build a following, to build trust in the community. So we need to make sure we're getting that content out in front of them and that we're communicating with them properly through video and through social targeting ads. And nextly, this is what it will look like. So this is a quick overview of what it will look like for some of the lead gen campaigns. And they'll visit the page. We'll bring them down multiple different funnels, right? As you can see here, but this is really where this all comes together, right? We try and make this as simple as possible, right? If we can teach this at a kindergarten level here, but this is essentially what we're doing to make sure we get traffic in front of you guys and make sure that we drive business to you. Who's this for? Well, we already talked about this in the beginning, but I think if you've come this far on the call, that you're someone that probably fits all of this. You are someone that's looking to 1, 2, 3, 4x your business. You're looking to recruit quality agents you're looking to find more buyers. You're looking to get more listings. You're looking to get more content out. You're looking to essentially become the mayor of your town. And you also understand that some people do this really well. A lot of people don't do this well at all, or they don't do it good enough, or they're doing this subpar and it's not driving any actual traffic or business to them. So the people that are looking to grow this year, going in, they want a game plan. They want a team that has a track record that kicks butt and can walk you through how we're going to do it specific to you through your agency, your brokerage, through your investment group, or if you're just an agent yourself, we'll walk you through how we can do that. So guys, reach out to us. There should probably be a link below if you haven't already set up a time to talk to myself or somebody on my team where we can do a discovery call. We can start to find out a little bit more about you, what you're trying to do at your brokerage or investment group there, or just as an agent, and start to build out an individual customized marketing strategy to help move the needle forward this year, guys. So talk to you soon. Let's do some work together, and I'll see you guys in the new year.